All right.
What about teenagers, and do you feel that life was better in, say, the 1950s?
I don't know, I wasn't around.
So but you understand what it was like in those days? You've seen Happy Days.
I don't know, people always say, don't they? Old people always say, it's a better life in the 50s. And it's like, yeah, it was for them. Of course it was for them. They're old now. Being old isn't great, is it? So you're just happy with your lot. I suppose I was happiest in about 1984.
Right. Specific year.
Why?
Why
was that? It was just I was free and happy.
How old were you?
I don't know.
He's just counting on his fingers now.
12.
Right, okay.
And it was just good.
So the happiest days of your life were between the age of 12 and 13?
Yeah, it was good. I had the world ahead of me.
Little did you know your hair was going to fall out and you were going to whinge every minute of the day.
I had my bike. I like messing about my bike. You had your mates. I had a pet magpie.
So you were probably the teenager that you eventually hate?
Probably.
Were you a good lad, law-abiding?
I wasn't bad. I just sort of, just potted about. I mean, when people talk about what was on the telly back then, I don't have that much memory of it because I was always out. I was always playing out.
What were you doing when you were out?
Just playing about, just like on a bike or...
Just riding in a circle endlessly through blizzards, rain, sleet, hail.
I never seemed to be in. I was always... When everyone always goes, where were you when Band-Aid was happening? I was always out on my bike. And everything was like...
you and McGregor?
A memory's always sort of like coming in for some orange and looking at the telly and seeing Princess Diana's getting married, and my mum says, have you seen this? And I'm going, oh, I'm going out on my bike. I was always doing that. The only time I was in my house...
This is why you don't know anything, because you never stopped.
Yeah, but this is what being a kid's about.
But
That's
all
what I mean, being free.
You have, Carl, is as though you've gleaned it as you raced by on a bike. It's almost like, every piece of information you have.
Your hair blowing in the wind. Carl, your hair will blow out one day. Oh, don't talk stupid, ma'am.
It was easy. So yeah, 12 to 13 was good.
But you see...
And it was all downhill from then, was it?
13, is your teenager then, aren't you? Life got tough.
Yeah, how did it get tough?
Just straight away when I was 13, my mum was like, oh, it's your 13th birthday, you're a teenager now.
Right.
And she gave us a quid to go and get a cake to celebrate it. Went to the supermarket, got a cake, and I just thought, I don't like the look of this. Don't like the look of the way the future is here.
On his 13th birthday.
Well, you were buying a cake. What did you see at the supermarket?
It was kind of like, I don't know, I suddenly felt grown up. I didn't like it.
But I think you were always about 58, really, with your outlook.
Well, yeah, my mum always said I was old. She said I was an old baby. She said I could frown before I could walk. So they always had a bit of a worried look on my face. Didn't say much, just always listened. My eyes moved about more than I did. Just sat there looking around, looking stressed.
My eyes moved about more than I did. Oh dear, couldn't walk. Well, I can't walk, but I'll try and get a bit of movement in my face. It's a workout, a baby workout. Aye, babies, well, if you can't walk, what about your face? Let your face do the walking.
It sounds like that horror film. It sounds like Pilkington's Baby.
Yeah.
Just you lying there in your cot.
I didn't like all the stuff that's set up for you. Like, my mum tried to send me to, like, a nursery. I said, no, I'm not having this.
Just like that.
I said when I'm older and I've got to go, I'll go, but let's leave out this bit. And she said, all right.
I love the fact he could reason with her. I love him. He's 3 years old with a pipe. She's going, you're going to nursery. She goes, I think not, Mum.
I mean, kids don't play out, do they? Kids, parents are scared to let the kids play out, and that's why the streets are dangerous now, because no one's playing out on the streets. Whereas when I was a kid, everyone was out on the streets. The streets were safer, because there was more people knocking about.
Right.
Let the kids play out.
It must be like a constant, like a Larry painting, his front garden, do you know what I mean? Just loads of people just walking around.
There was never any problems. I was sort of taken away by some fella.
What?
Whoa.
No, I was playing about in the garden.
Yeah.
But my dad's mate, Tony, he did tiling with him. He drove past, and he saw me looking a bit fed up, so he just leant over, picked me up, took me to the pub. Now, the thing is, there wasn't panic. People weren't going, oh, God, where's Carl gone?
He's out.
Just
How old were you?
He's down the pub. He's 4 years old, yeah. Well, he's only having a...
He's down the pub with Tony, probably playing darts.
Yeah, I was about 3 or 4.
Sorry, so some bloke drives by who happens to be a friend of your dad's, thinks that baby looks grumpy. Yeah. I'm taking him down to the pub.
That's what it was
Tony,
like.
you bringing a baby to the pub? Yeah, I might do, yeah, we're all bringing ours. All right, see you later, mate.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Whereas now they go, the baby's gone. There's a big full-on panic going on.
Yeah, but I think it says more about your parents that they didn't do that. They looked out in the back car and you were gone. Some bloke's driving off in a van. They're just going, oh, well.
They drove down the pub.
Doesn't Princess Diana look lovely? This is absurd. So what happened when you got down the pub?
I just was there for a bit, and then
For a bit, just had a game of pool.
then my dad came in. It was like, oh, there you are.
Oh, there you are! I love that! Where's my baby? I'm just going to have a quick pint. Oh, there you are. All right, mate.
So, yeah, I think things were better back then. All right.
Carl, let's give him a list. Top 5 something. What are you interested in? Are you interested in news, sport, TV, cars, movies, style?
I mean, I'm into weird stuff, but it seems a bit tight to stick them in a list.
What, like what?
Well, like, sort of freaky people and that. I've got that freak book. But I don't know if they'd be happy if I call one of them and said, good news, you're at number 1, because you've got 4 legs or whatever. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, then, this is the Karl Pilkington top 5 freaks in at number 5.
Probably something not too good at number 5, but it's still interesting. Lighthouse Man.
Who's that?
Lighthouse Man?
What's Lighthouse Man?
It's a fella with a hole in his head. And he, what he does, rather than moan about it, sticks a candle in it.
Shut up. What are you talking about?
Sticks a candle
What are
in
you
it.
talking about? Where is the hole?
I bet he didn't call himself Lighthouse Man, did he?
Well, I don't know, it's just what he got nicknamed. Because he had this hole, doctors were like, there's nothing we can do, can't fill it. Thought, what can I do with it? And it was of the days when there was no electric and that. You had to walk about with a candle.
Right.
So hang on a minute.
Okay, I can have both
Got a
hands
little
for
candle
you.
holder here. Stuck a candle in it, and he just got nicknamed the Lighthouse Man. So again, it's not that amazing, but I like the way he was sort of energy efficient.
So was it in his forehead?
No, on the very top of his head.
That's perfect. You don't want it in the forehead, Steve. You'd have to walk back with
That'd
your
be
neck
ridiculous.
cricked.
So he was like a kind of human jack-o'-lantern?
He's a Lighthouse Man. What, Steve, what
Sorry, mate, yeah, I
better
forgot
description
about
do you
that.
need than the Lighthouse Man?
So yeah, he's probably at number 5.
Wow, that's at number 5, Steve.
Number 4.
What about Pig-Faced Woman of Manchester Square?
Again, you're getting what it says in the tin there, aren't you?
Right.
And it's just this woman who had a face like a pig. And the rumour was
Yeah.
that it wasn't a woman. Someone said it was a pet bear and they'd shaved it. That's what that's what
Was
I've
this
heard.
someone? Was this someone you saw? Or
No,
that you
no,
just read about?
this is going back.
This is years ago.
This is years and years ago.
Yeah.
When there was loads of like weird looking people. I mean, the fact that it's Pig-Faced Woman of Manchester Square
Yeah.
says that there might have been one in
Piccadilly Circus.
yeah, whatever. So there was a lot more of them knocking about back then.
Let's assume that it was a woman, and the first one, the Lighthouse fellow, he's a human. Do you think people would object because of their disfigurement, deformity, a bit like being called freaks? Do you think?
Well, it gave them a purpose back then. See, if you were a freak years ago, there was work for you. You'd have these circus things. Now, if you've got a funny head, you're on the dole.
Number 3?
What about Elephant Man?
Right.
Stick him at number 3. He's
Number 3.
He's surely the most famous freak ever to have lived, isn't he?
he's the one who got me into it.
Right. Yeah, sure. He's a sort of entry-level freak.
Yeah.
A gateway freak.
Everyone is aware of him.
If the Elephant Man still existed, right, and you got the opportunity to meet him, and you walked in, a couple of questions. 1, what would your first reaction be? And 2, what would you say to him? What would your first question be?
How would I react? Well, I've sort of seen him enough now that it wouldn't shock me. So I don't even think I'd flinch.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, when I first saw you, that was a bit weird. But now look, I can look at you. I don't double take or anything. What would I say to him though? I'd probably say, where do you get that hat to fit you? You always had that on. Where do you get that from?
That sort of flat cap that he's got.
Yeah, that one, didn't he? So yeah, I'd have him. So he's at number 3.
Right. Elephant Man number 3. I can't wait for
Blimey,
2 and
yeah.
1. Right. Okay. Number
Well, I know
2.
what my number 1 is. It's just number 2 now. I don't know his name, but there's a fella knocking about. Well, I don't think he's around anymore. But he had like a normal body. Looking at him, you'd go, "What's up with him? He's not a freak." Takes his undies off. Got 2 knobs.
Right.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, there's nowhere to start. Do you
don't
think
know.
he uses them alternately, like have a wee out of this one, have a wee out of that one, or does he just like spread the load so he's weeing out of both?
I don't think he knows.
What do you
I
mean
think it's
he doesn't
sort of
know?
like a lucky dip. When he goes to a urinal,
Yeah.
he can have a little bet with himself. He's just like, I don't know what's going to happen here.
So do you reckon he holds them
Holds
both
them
out?
definitely.
So he takes his trousers down because I mean, you know,
Yeah, you can't use a Y front.
right?
It'd be,
Need more like a W front.
Yeah. So he pops his cakes down there.
I don't think it's that much of a problem. It's not like...
Well... I don't know.
I'd prefer that than Elephant Man's head.
Well, of course you would.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
What if you had Elephant Man's knob?
Yeah, but it didn't work like that, did it? That's the thing. They said he had the body of an elephant. Well, that's the only thing that wasn't of an elephant standard. His knob was normal. Whereas with this fella, it's the other way round. Everything normal. Took the pants off. Oh, well, what's going on here?
But why would you ever take his pants off?
No, I wouldn't. I'm just saying if...
But why, I don't know why you'd be in a situation with this man with two knobs standing there with his pants on and you go pop your pants off. You're not a doctor.
No, I say if I'm waiting in a cubicle and he's there.
For what?
Sorry, you're waiting in the cubicle and he comes in?
I'm waiting to have a wee at a cubicle. He's
in the
taking two
toilet.
urinals up and going, hang on, you don't need them both, do you? He goes, well, actually,
Oh, and then
have a look at this.
Right.
He's got two knobs.
See, I didn't see him at two urinals. I saw him at one, maybe them pointing inwards.
If you had that, and say the first time that you met Suzanne, would you mention that straight up?
Would you say, right, before this goes any further, I've got something to show you?
Well, let's see. Tell me exactly what you would say.
You had normal head then, didn't you?
I had the same head, yeah.
Yeah, but it had, like, hair coming out of it, didn't it? And sort
Yeah,
of like...
yeah, but she also had a smaller arse back then as well, so I think we've both been dumb.
Anyway, we need to get to number one.
Yeah, number one.
Okay, it is.
It's Pillow Man.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, man. Okay, now explain for those that don't know who he was.
He's a fella with no arms and legs, just a head and a little body. Nickname Pillow Man.
Well, why is he your favourite?
Just because he's amazing. Just the way he just got on with his life. He used to light a cig, just using his lips and his tongue and that.
Oh, I've seen
Not
this.
fully lit. He'd buy like Roll Your Own.
Yeah, it's in the film Freaks, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he
He had a
rolls
shave
it.
as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
How did he
Do you
have a
think
shave?
he used to do it? He used to get it in his mouth, and I don't know.
Jesus.
It's amazing. Did he have a knob?
I think he did because he had some kids.
What?
Yeah, he had kids. He was an all right looking fella. He wasn't odd looking. It's just that
Sorry?
he looked like Samuel L. Jackson. Imagine him with no arms and legs.
Right, that's odd though, isn't it? Really?
It's weird, but you've got to give it to him. You know, I mean, he's there rolling his own. He's pretty cool looking.
I just want to say to people, it's no. You say it looks cool, to, with no arms and no legs to smoke, but don't forget that smoking can stunt your growth.
Yeah, but yeah, remember he was on like this circus freak show thing with like a bearded woman.
Yeah.
Right. Which isn't really a freak, is it? She could have had a shave. Have a shave, you're not a freak anymore.
Yeah.
A bearded woman, compared to a fella who's got no arms and legs, a bearded woman, get out. But there was like a fella with no bottom half to his body, called Johnny Eck, was his name. So, when you're knocking about with that crowd, you're going to get a bit. You're going to get a bit. So, yeah, he had kids and they were all normal kids. They had all the limbs.
Did his
and
wife
everything.
had arms and legs?
Never saw his wife.
Never saw his wife.
I think
He was probably ashamed of her. She was a bit of a freak.
for someone like him, you'd think he'd just give up, wouldn't you? You think, forget it. What sort of life is it?
Yeah.
I'm like a Mexican jumping bean. It's not worth living. But he just got on with it. To have a shave, I don't even bother having a shave some days.
No. Nor did the bearded lady. Lazy fucking bitch.
So that's why I've put him at my number one position. It's just amazing, isn't it? The human, how whatever you dealt, some people just get on with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Pillow Man, or Draft Excluder, as I prefer to call him.
There you go. Oh. Now, me and Steve are a couple of big shots. We do this for a laugh, but this is Karl Pilkington's only source of income. This is what you do now, isn't it?
This is my full-time job, yeah.
What do you think of that?
It depresses me.
Why?
This isn't what I ever wanted. Because I haven't got a purpose, have I? I'm sat here talking about the Pillow Man. If it weren't for him, I'd have nothing to say. It just depresses me. That I just wish I had a job where I felt like I was needed. And I don't feel needed. It's not a proper job.
We need you.
We
need you for money for old road.
I know, but this isn't. I wanted something that when you die and that, it's, you get up to the gates, whatever, and they say, "What have you done?" And then I'm looking worried, thinking, "Is the Pillow Man about?"
Or just
maybe just predictions.
Just predictions.
Okay, yeah.
So
and
just-
then a little thing to remember, and remember ye this. So I, Karl Pilkington, predict that in the future mankind will Start off with that. Start off with that sentence. I've given you that one.
All right, I'm Carl, and the future.
He's already gone off road.
It's a scary place, but the future's going to happen. Right? There's no getting away from that.
Yep. Okay, your predictions are.
Well, we're all.
It's not a soundbite.
Keep going.
Hang on a
Give him
minute.
space.
This is in a book. I've got to think about. I don't want to get it
Think.
wrong.
Okay. Think first. Think a second, and then say it. Okay. Starting from now, these words of wisdom will be inscribed on a wall of a museum one day. Proceed.
I think trousers are going to be stopped being made. Just because you see kids now, they've got the pants around their ankles. They're going further and further down. So I think that's evolution, just getting rid of the trouser.
Right.
It's just dropping naturally.
That's the evolution of the trouser because it's dropping incrementally
Well, you see now, you
down
can
the
see
arse.
kids' underpants. So they're just dropping.
Yeah.
I think they'll get to a point when they just don't bother wearing them anymore.
Right.
Prediction 1.
Okay,
That's an amazing one.
They'll stop making trousers in the future.
Good.
Okay.
We're going to get weaker. That's already happened. They used to say, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Now they're saying eat 5 fruits.
Right.
So we've definitely that's evidence. You can't argue with that. I'd probably put that first because he goes right. What's number 2? So swap that round.
Okay, that's number 1.
Give him the pants second.
Yep.
I'm gonna die.
Okay,
They
number
used
3.
to say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. They used to say pull your trousers up. Now they say put them down. You can. I've never had such fucking dribble.
Number 3.
Right, number 3. Oh, the scholars are now waiting with bated breath when they find this old scroll, and they go, "Ooh, what can number 3 be?"
I reckon we'll blend all our food.
Oh God!
No, because
He got me. He was going to make a point about race. What you
Yeah.
said, I never thought it would be. We'll blend all our food.
like they do for babies, you mean?
I just think when you think about all the stuff we eat now, cavemen chewing on big lumps of meat.
Yeah.
We had wisdom teeth.
Yep.
Now they say, well, take them out, you're not using them.
Yeah.
Why not using them? Because your food's soft.
Yep.
Sorbet.
Yeah.
Soups.
Yeah.
Everything's softer,
Just
isn't it?
those
When you get
two,
an
yeah.
avocado, they say, is it soft? Everyone's squeezing the food before they buy it.
Yeah.
No one wants anything tough.
Yeah.
So I think chewing is a sort of
It's a
thing of the past. We haven't got the time to chew. Everyone's like, hurry up, eat that. You don't have to go out for dinner with Ricky. He's like, hurry up. Like, I'm still eating
Well, he
it.
does blend his food, I think. Okay, so blending food.
Great.
I reckon... what else do we do now? So I've done teeth. Done trousers. I've come up with this idea. It's sort of like glasses, but you can live wherever you want to live.
What do you mean?
Everything that's real, you're not looking at that anymore. This is really the future. I'd put this at number 10. This is like...
We're only doing 5. Fuck me.
So what you mean is that you look through the glasses and instead of seeing what the real world, you see a tropical
what you want to
paradise.
see. So if you're a young kid and you like the idea of living in the urban ghetto with all graffiti on the walls and that, you can see that.
Yeah, but hold on. Are you walking round? Because you'll be bumping into stuff, won't you?
No.
Why not?
No, what you mean is that the stuff that's there in the real world is being digitally reimagined
Yeah.
in your glasses. So what was a nice country lane is suddenly now an
It's
urban
got loads
ghetto.
of graffiti on it.
Sure.
Absolutely mental, pointless, will
But-
never work. Absolutely
But
one of the
older-
maddest
So
things you've ever said.
really weird, that one.
Yeah,
It could be done. I reckon it could be easily
Why
done.
would it be? Okay,
Because-
that last one, that's number 4. I've load of bollocks. So what's number 5?
There'll be more letters in the alphabet.
Why?
Why?
Because we're running out of words now, aren't we?
No, we're not running out of
Well, we
words.
are. We are definitely running out
Just
of
using,
words.
it's using the letters we've already got and
yeah.
making new words.
Yeah, we're making. Yeah,
No, but we haven't got enough now.
of course we have. Have you any idea? You could have a word with 9 L's
Yes.
before you run out.
Yeah, and they do in Wales and what have you. That's because their alphabet is shorter than ours. They've only got something like 24 letters over there.
Right.
They go mental with the L. now, what we do is we've got 26 letters, but we are now struggling.
We're not struggling at all.
We are.
We're not. Let me just stupid.
Boswallocks in shampoo. Now there's a word where they've gone, well, we've invented something here. We've got something we're putting in shampoo.
Boswallocks?
Boswallocks.
Have you just made that up?
No, it's now they go. I knew with Boswallops and ceramide R. Yeah, but that's a new word because they have to. They come up with a new word.
But it's a terrible word.
Why?
Boswallocks.
It's another word.
Is that real? You've made that up,
No,
have you?
I am. It's a real word.
Boswallocks, yeah.
Now this is what I'm saying. So years ago, when they came up with all the sensible ingredients,
Go on.
sodium. That sounds. That sounds all right.
He likes sodium. He doesn't
Happy
like
with that.
Because it
Boswallops.
sounds like something in it, like an ingredient.
Well, yeah, but that's because you're used to it.
Is this a load of Boswallocks? Are you winding me up,
No,
the two
it's
of you?
real.
It's real, and that's because 26 letters. We've wasted them. Years ago, we went mental with the, pneumonia, sticking a P on it, and there's loads of words where you go, what's that letter doing in there? Whereas now, they can't do that. They've gone, whoa, pull that back. Why is that letter there? And now you've got stuff like abbreviations and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's not waste letters. Let's just control it a little bit.
No.
Cars are called things like, GTI or something, because they're going, well, I can't think of the word to call this. So they're giving them letters. Think of a word now. Think of a word that hasn't been made up.
What do you mean?
Well, tell me a word that hasn't been made up.
All words have been made up.
No, one that hasn't. That could be used. Say if I invent something now to put in shampoo, what can I call it? Quick.
Cranberry.
No, it's too close to that. No, we can't get that past the advertising person.
Scrimpton.
Scrimpton.
Yeah.
It took Ricky 2 goes and you accepted his second one.
Well, I think we've sorted out the future.
If you get, I think I read that like a big chunk of ice fell off one of the ice. What do you call them?
Caps.
Ice caps. Something like that. I think they said it's the size of the Empire State Building or something.
Right.
It snapped off and went into the water, and it's melted. And they said, oh, it's bad news, that something that size is melting. But the way I look at it, if something that size falls into the water, it's like a big ice cube, and it's gonna freeze it up again. You with me?
Not really, Carl.
Go on.
Right, you get a giant ice cube, the size of the Empire State Building, stick it in the water, it's gonna make it's gonna stick back on again, isn't it?
Well,
Maybe
no,
it's gonna stick back
only
on
if
again.
it freezes up again.
Yeah, well,
mean
it will
it's gonna
freeze up. The
well, it
water's gonna
won't,
get
but-
cold again because you've just put a giant ice cube in the water.
So when you put an ice cube in a drink, the drink doesn't freeze, does it?
No,
the
because
ice
it's not.
melts.
If you put one the size of the Empire State Building in your glass of Jack Daniels, it's gonna make it freezing.
It's not going in a glass of Jack Daniels, it's going in the ocean.
I know, but you see that I'm using my fables, imaginary world.
Use your brain instead.
This is a bit of a bigger issue. We're always making more and more stuff, right? In the world, big buildings, big planes, big boats, and that. Will we ever get to a point where all this is too heavy for the world to handle?
Right. What error has he made there, Steve? What physical, scientific error has he made there with that question?
I can't begin to explain it.
Carl, we're not getting the rocks from other planets. It's already here. It's like having a big pile of books in a room and then moving them over to the other side of the room and build a thing going, oh, can the room take it? I'm building a lot of things out of these books.
What about plastic? Where's that come from?
Other chemicals that existed on the planet.
Yeah.
Do you see the point?
Hang on a minute, though. What about a little tree? You plant that as an acorn, it grows, Rick. That's bigger, that's more stuff.
Yeah.
Don't listen to him, Carl. He's patronising
What
you.
about acorns and that though?
Right, they grow from minerals and proteins already in our atmosphere or in our the mass of Earth.
What about a cat, Carl? Right, you get it, it's a very tiny kitten, but it grows up and it's bigger.
Carl, he's doing it on purpose.
Elephants. Baby
Elephants, they're very small to begin with, but they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and so they get heavier and heavier.
Mind you, dinosaurs have gone.
You know, but you know,
these are milestones in human evolution. The opposable form, the forward-facing eyes, the upright. These are massive things in taking us out of the animal kingdom.
And one day, Carl, you'll walk upright.
But what do you mean about eyes facing forward? You mean before we got here, there was people whose eyes were looking in their head? I don't understand. Is that what you mean?
No, because when we got sort of binocular vision. Do you know Anne Frank?
That's all I know about Anne. There's no point pretending it.
Anne!
That I know stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, tell us everything you know about Anne Frank.
She was in a cupboard.
Yeah. What else?
If she didn't do that, I wouldn't know about her. Seriously. That's all I know about her.
Yeah.
So what did she do?
But how do you think we know about her cupboard because of her book, don't we?
But hang on, what in the bigger scheme of things, why was she in a cupboard?
I don't know.
Right.
I honestly don't know.
You don't know anything else about Anne Frank beyond the fact that, to quote you, she was in a cupboard.
Well, what's she done then? You tell me. Why should I know more about her?
Firstly, I don't think she was in a cupboard.
She wasn't in a cupboard. She was in an attic.
All right.
Yeah.
So what was she doing?
She was hiding from the Nazis. She was hiding from the Nazis.
But isn't that the first place they'd look? Sort of work from the top down.
Carl, they weren't specifically looking for Anne Frank.
They weren't going, where is she?
Where's Frank?
If she gets that book out, we are in a deep shit. We've got to stop the book.
And then we went and had a look at the volcanoes and that. They've got 36 of them to look at.
How many did you look at before you realised that pretty much, you've seen one volcano, you've seen them all?
Probably about 6 or 7.
Really? And then when you got to the 8th, you thought, no, I know what this is going to be, Suzanne. This is going to be like a mountain with a hole in the top.
Yeah.
Really?
But it happened years ago as well. It's like, just keep a couple, fill the rest in, tidy it up.
Fill the rest in!
Yeah, no,
Well, getting some builders.
No, seriously though.
Okay, 4 million tons of concrete, please.
They're an absolute death trap.
Yeah, what? Yeah. What do you mean, fill them in? Do you know what a volcano is?
Just a hole, isn't it? That's happened.
Well, it's more than the
happened back
hole. It's
in-
more a portal to the magma in the centre of the Earth.
Back in 1730 it happened, and they still haven't sorted it out.
Well, when you say it happened, volcanoes were made a lot longer ago than 1730.
No, but the one that did Lanzarote in.
Right.
Sort it out.
What would you suggest? How
tidy
can they
up.
fill it in? It's joined. It's all joined.
No, but what I'm
And
saying is,
the
it
big
was-
plates of the Earth are all joined.
It
All
was
the
a disaster,
magma's
wasn't it?
joined.
With the trade centre thing, that happened. They cleaned it up, sorted it out, they've moved on. That's what I'm saying. Whereas Lanzarote have just gone, leave it. It happened back in 1730.
You misunderstand me. How, in the name of God, can you fill in a volcano? You ignorant twit.
No, but it's not just the holes, they've actually left the lava everywhere. That's what I mean. It's not just the big holes, there's lava everywhere.
But it's molten rock. They can't just pick it up like they're like a carpet.
Put it in the holes are there ready, just push it all in. That's what I'm saying. You know, like the monkeys peeling potatoes.
Right. That's never happened. They go and put nuts in the salt water to salt the nut.
Whatever.
How does that get to peeling potatoes?
But-
Because in your head, they were working in a canteen.
Making chips.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
It doesn't matter what the food is, I'm just saying how they know how to sort of prepare
I
that
love
food.
the fact that you don't care what the fact is. When you're discussing facts, that's all that matters. Otherwise, on Mastermind, they just go, who wrote Much Ado About Nothing? Dickens? Yeah, close enough, whatever, someone did. The fact is what matters.
Yeah, but with that question, that's got a straightforward answer. What I'm telling you is the way that animals work. If it's a potato or a nut, it's a foodage.
And once again, I return you to my question as before. What's your point? What point were you making?
It's either a chimpanzee with a typewriter with an infinite amount of time. He would eventually, by definition, mathematically, type everything ever possible. Okay, or it's an infinite amount of chimps with typewriters, and one of them will type it first time.
But already that's sort of, that's not right. You either need to have
What do
one
you mean?
monkey.
What? You mean
Let's hear his
employment
point.
laws?
He
What do you mean
can't-
it's not right?
Let's hear him out.
Please.
If it's one monkey
Yeah.
with a typewriter that's got loads of ink in it and that, right? At least it knows what it's done in the past.
It's not.
Keep going.
Crime.
If you've got a load of monkeys, it's like if you have too many. What's that saying about too many chefs?
Too many chimps spoil the soup.
Right. Well, it's the same thing. It's like, well, I didn't tell you to put salt in it. I was going to put salt in it, and it messes it up. Whereas if it's just one, they know what's gone on. So what I'm saying is,
honestly,
leave him go.
I can't be bothered.
I want to hear. I want to hear the rest.
This blows my mind. He doesn't know what this does to me. It's a mathematical
I
problem.
want to hear the rest.
well, it's just I just don't think it will happen.
What do you mean you don't think it'll happen? Infinity works it out for you by definition.
But not Shakespeare.
Oh! Shut up, you idiot!
Rick, do you know what he said to me? I said to him, I explained it to him, I said,
God.
you've got an infinite number of monkeys, infinite number of typewriters, they will type the complete works of Shakespeare. He said, have they read Shakespeare?
You're an idiot! Play a
I
record,
said, no,
'cause I'm not having this
they're not doing
conversation. When are the exams? June?
Something like that, yeah.
We're trying to register next week, and I reckon you can get an A or B.
I'm
history.
busy. I'm
In
busy.
history. No, don't worry about it, it's just easy. You get your Brody's notes. If Heat magazine, they love you, Carl. They could probably sort something out. They could probably pay for a tutor. They got a lot of money, they sell a lot of magazines.
I mean, it is always, almost always, and you found that out, I discovered this, it's always the Tudors and Stuarts. There's no fear for that, them not coming up. Now, what do you already know about them? You must already know stuff about Henry VIII and Elizabeth.
No, because it's too long ago to even get interested in. Do you know what I mean? You can't.
Is that why you
relate
didn't-
to it.
Okay.
The Anderson thing, it was like, God, you know, I bet my mum and dad were in an Anderson shelter. You know, this is interesting.
What, when they...
Oh, my granddad would have like had something to do with this. But the Tudors, it's like I don't know even if they had a family back then.
Play a record! Is that the answer?
Just cavemen in front of dinosaurs and that. They sort of went, oh, and then
Well, it wasn't cavemen in front of dinosaurs, was it? Because cavemen weren't alive when dinosaurs were alive.
there was a couple knocking about.
Right, okay, fair enough.
There was a crossover point, surely.
Not dinosaurs like you're thinking
15
of.
million. Was the probably the Ice Age. There were still big
I
reptiles.
think it's fairly common knowledge that the dinosaurs did not exist.
Well, who gave the
when-
dinosaurs the name?
No. Well, no.
Who gave the dinosaurs their names?
He's
Hang on. Here's something I've learnt, remember?
Go
Going
on.
back to like show 4 or whatever.
go on.
What is it? The flea can jump over the London Eye.
No, it can jump the equivalent of if it was a 6-foot man. It can jump about 6 inches high. A flea cannot jump over the London Eye.
Yes, it can. Yeah, it can.
And
Tell your kids that.
God. Oh,
remember.
Oh, a flea can jump over the London Eye, and an ant can lift 3 Volvos.
I don't know if you saw the thing the other week about the fella who's on that quiz show.
Oh.
Sort of
Oh, right, okay.
gay
Who?
fella, straight, sort of man, woman. thing.
What are you talking about? Tell me what did you see? Tell me what you saw.
It's
This is like a kid come running in, and he's seeing something frightening. Could be an alien, could be a ghost, could be a paedophile, and you've got to get exactly what actually saw out of him. Right, what did you actually see?
It's just this fella who's a woman.
Right. Right, okay, right, try and talk like a human being. Right.
It's a quiz show that's coming on the telly, and it's this woman.
Right, is it a fella who's a woman, or is it a woman?
Bit of both. That's why I'm talking about it.
But what do you mean? Is it a pre-op? Is it a transsexual, a transvestite? Is it a ladyboy? Is it an hermaphrodite? What is
I'll tell you
it?
about it.
Well, tell me.
I'm telling you. It's a woman. Well, it's a man.
Oh,
No,
forget
listen,
it.
listen.
Play record.
No, listen.
come on.
What?
It is a man. He is a man. Well,
Oh, Christ's sake!
it's a TV program where they've got this man who's
Transvestite or television?
It is a transvestite, yeah.
So-
but the problem is, I'll tell you just because you don't know about it. The program is.
I don't know, I still don't know about it. I don't know anything about it, still. I don't know. It's a woman, man, woman, TV program, look, TV.
No, it's a man who is now sort of half a woman. And
A man who is now half a woman!
no, well, this is what's weird about it. He's got the top half, but not the bottom half.
What do you
sorted
mean? He's
out.
got breasts and a wig. But he's still got his boys downstairs. He's
Why
got,
do you do that?
his captain and the boys
What
are
do you do
still
that
there
for?
in his Y fronts.
Why is
But
that?
upstairs, he's got a lovely pair of dumplings.
Why do that?
Well, he's halfway through.
But why not get it all done in one go?
Maybe he couldn't afford it.
Well, wait until you've got all the money. That just looks a mess. And who's he pleasing there?
When he wakes up in the morning and
everyone.
pleases himself, he can't believe his luck. He doesn't know where to start.
No, but what I don't understand, I mean, you know, I don't want to see him.
Well, can I just
seem
finish that
ignorant.
sentence? What you don't understand is just about everything.
Yeah.
Right, what?
I find it weird, right? I sort of get, I understand the gay thing, right? But,
Do you? What do you mean?
well, you know, I know.
Well,
I
tell
know,
me the gay thing. Explain the
well,
gay
I
thing.
just know if you're a fella, you like men. I don't know much more than that.
What do you mean you don't know?
But what I mean is, with a transvestite, what's going on there? What do they want?
Now, transvestite is a cross-dresser.
See, I don't get that either. Because
You mean a
That's somebody,
transsexual?
that's a man who likes to dress in women's clothing. It's not necessarily, they're not necessarily gay.
They're
or
not gay.
straight
They're
or
often
anything.
not gay.
They just happen to like wearing women's
Those clothes, right? Yeah.
but then why not wear women's clothes that could be seen as a bloke's, like Suzanne wears jeans?
No, but they, yeah,
Just
but that's
buy
the
women's
thing.
jeans.
But that's their problem, is it? They like being seen as a woman. They like being seen as a woman. It's not just that it's more comfortable, or they wear a kilt. They like being seen as a woman. They feel more comfortable.
Alright, and what's the deal with this fella who's got
We don't know
both?
who this fella is.
No, we don't know this man who's half a woman.
He's called Miriam.
Oh, that's hot.
yeah. Brilliant. I love this scientific basis.
No, I
So
think-
all he's done, he's had the tits done, he's probably had the hormones, probably lived as a woman for a while. The last step, because you can probably reverse the breasts anyway, because they're probably implants and hormonal things, and whereas you chop your knob and boys off, that's, you come back the next day and go, sorry, I didn't mean that, I wanted my ears pierced. It's a bit more of a bigger operation to put them back. So, doctors are probably making sure that he's just up
Surely
to
if
his...
you've had the top half done, you're not going to go back on what you've said.
But no, what's the top half being done? I could get you breast implants, give you a bit of hormonal treatment.
Now
and
that
you
would be a great idea for next week.
and you could reverse it. What you can't do is grow a knob back.
Well, you can. Last week we were talking about growing one on your arm.
Yeah.
We've done that.
We can, so that is possible. But the thing is, the truth of it is, I think I do know about this story. I think it was a television programme called There's Something About Miriam. The
Oh.
conceit of which was that this pre-op transsexual
So I guessed that right, yeah.
was masquerading as a woman,
Right.
and various blokes who didn't realise that this was a man had to
I've heard
try
about
and
this.
seduce her. And when they found out that it was actually a bloke, and a lot of them had kissed him
agree.
and her, they refused to let it be shown. and
I
there was a big
agree though.
outrage and so on.
That's just terrible.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, it's
deceit.
absurd.
But I mean, that's awful. I hated that.
Yeah.
We got to look into this. If anyone knows why Dumpty was an egg, if Hubbard eventually found a dog a bone, and what was the little one doing? What did the little one think he was doing, for God's sake?
When I saw my dad last year, he was telling me about a fella who's got some clothes you can see through. What's that one?
You don't mean the Emperor's New Clothes?
Yeah, what's that one about?
Well, that's a genuinely good little parable, that.
Yeah, because it's now used for people who are scared to sort of slag something off because it's sort of like really cool, and they don't want to be the one that shouts it, and then one person goes, hold on,
Very,
I've
very
seen
briefly,
through this.
Carl, very briefly, the king wants some new clothes, right? He's the king, he goes, who's gonna make me some new clothes? Various people come to me, says, I don't like that, it's not interesting enough. One guy, who's just a bit of a con artist, he comes along, he goes, I've made you this magic suit, look, and it's nothing. He
It's
goes, put it
invisible.
on, the king puts on nothing, because there is nothing, but thinks there's something, because, he wants to buy into it and
And
everything.
he goes, it's the finest stitching. He goes, look at it, can you see it? No, they actually say only a genius can see how good this suit is. And the king goes, yeah, it's brilliant, yeah, it's great. And he goes out, and just, is it a woman or a little kid?
Well,
goes-
everyone's applauding it, they're going, you look great, even though his tackle's hanging out, he's nothing.
Even though he's got a king-size, sort of like, bit of meat and two veg, wobbling, dragging down the street.
Exactly. And then one little boy goes, he's not wearing anything.
The king is in the Altogether. Know that one?
So, well, did anyone else buy one? Or was...
Okay, play record.
Play a record, Carl.
Play record.
Carl, just play a song.
Jesus.
Right. And, I'm assuming there's some questions there, Carl, aren't you?
Yeah,
Right, here we go.
If you're a new listener, the way it works, I'll give you a cryptic clue. and some initials, and it sort of makes up a band. Makes more sense when you hear it, I reckon.
Not really. Although people do get it. I just worry about the state of our listeners. Go on.
Right, so there's 3 of them. You email in ricky.gervais@xfm.co.uk.
It's email only. I repeat, it is email only.
We are too lazy to answer the phone.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go then. Number 1. There's normally 2 easy ones and a difficult one.
Sure.
So here we go. Number 1. Don't argue with him, he ain't going to change his mind.
Don't argue with him, he ain't going to change his mind.
Yeah, that's AA.
AA.
That's, yeah. So that's the
Don't
first
argue with him,
one.
he's not going to change his mind.
What do you mean, Presumably you've got them written out, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about what the answer is, so I didn't write the answer down.
Oh, don't worry, they get it. Yeah, don't worry.
Well, you can't remember it? You came up with it, there's only 3.
I know, it's weird, isn't it?
No, it's not weird, it's incompetent.
Right, the second one anyway, I hope you get this.
I hope you get this. Email in and tell us the answer.
This is a shambles, isn't
Hang
it?
on a
Come
minute.
on, keep going.
Go on.
He always gets what he wants and doesn't worry about anyone else. P.
And you don't know
You don't know that is?
I'm sure it'll come to me once I see it on email.
What do you mean? Once they get it, you'll agree with them?
I'll know if it's the one I had down as the answer.
This is brilliant.
Come on,
Imagine
it's
Jeremy Paxman doing that, going...
Yeah, University Times.
Is that right? Go on.
Right, so that's that one.
Give us that one again.
He always gets what he wants and doesn't worry about anyone else. P.
But you're confused. I don't understand how you can be confused.
Yeah.
Alright, what's the final one?
The third one, I'll have to put that woman in the oven. And that's AB.
Alright, quickly give us them again.
Right, so the first one, don't argue with him, he ain't going to change his mind. That's AA. He always gets what he wants and doesn't worry about anyone else. That's P. And I'll have to put that woman in the oven. AB.
Alright.
Okay.
Ricky.gervais@xfm.co.uk.
I'm going to play a classic track now by Neil Young, Alabama. It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Neil Young, Alabama. Carl is still confused. He's waiting. He's biting his fingers, waiting for an email to tell him the answer to the clue he made up but can't get. I love that as an experiment. As a I mean, that would confuse psychologists, that you come up with something that you can't get. It's brilliant.
Yeah, you came up with the question, you don't know the answer.
And you expect them to, but you can't, and you made it up. Look at your face, play some adverts.
Alright, no, I don't know what you just
Wow.
about.
We've not. Even Jonathan Ross couldn't save this show.
No.
He's the only A celebrity I know.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
all
it.
out of ideas. I thought we'd have a trivia game. That's rubbish because he can't read.
Alright.
Yeah, and that's what is it?
So
It's-
are we knocking the trivia game on the
Yeah, yeah.
Should we, let's have one final question.
what
What's the answer?
What about
I
the
don't
answer?
know. I don't know.
For the Pope one.
I don't know.
We couldn't even figure out the question, Carl.
What's the stone? What's the stone?
Hang on a minute.
Just entertain yourselves at home while Carl looks for the question.
Anthurst.
Amethyst.
Amethyst.
Yeah.
Amthirst. No, she was the first woman MP, I think you'll find. Amthirst. Ruby or Diamondo?
So have you got maybe a final question,
That's still
Carl,
one
that
on it.
can
Okay, do a
decide- just one on
decider
it?
and then we knock this on the head.
Yeah.
Go on then.
What?
Who?
Have you not been practicing in all these? We've had ads, we've had music.
Oh, where? What?
Rick, I don't think we should call ITV later.
With
this.
Maybe he was talking about Jonathan's inquiry about sartorial elegance tonight. Where
Yes.
what?
You're like this. Peter the Great. You ever heard of Peter the Great?
No.
Okay. Well, anyway, Peter the Great had his wife's lover
Oh.
executed.
You'll love this, Carl.
Right. So his wife had a lover. He had him executed, and he put his head into a jar of alcohol, and his wife had to keep it in her bedroom. Do you understand? That's every time she saw, every morning she'd wake up, and there was her lover's head. In a
Who
jar.
took his head off? He took his own head off.
Play a record.
Play a record!
She had a lover, and oh, never mind. Never mind. Mad World on XFM. We just had a text, Rick, from Andrew Barnes. He says he watched the same documentary, it would appear, as Carl did in the week. And he says here, just to clarify, the leech nose man got it up there when drinking from a muddy stream. And he goes on, one can only imagine the frightenedness he experienced.
Oh, Carl. Explain to him once more what happened with Peter the Great.
Alright, so we've got Peter the Great,
Yeah.
okay, and his wife had a lover.
That's
on the
another
side.
man,
Another man.
not Peter the Great.
She was having an affair with someone else.
Right.
And Peter the Great, he found out about that. Okay?
Yeah.
So he sliced off this bloke's head, he killed him, he executed him.
Right.
Were you with me so far?
The fella who
Oh,
she
Jesus.
she was seeing for a bit.
Yeah, there's only two fellas involved.
There's two
here,
people
though.
involved. One's Peter the Great, the other one's
Right,
not.
right.
The guy that's not Peter the Great...
Derek the Terrible.
Derek the Rubbish,
Yeah.
right? He's having an affair with Peter the Great's missus. So Peter the Great slices off his head, puts it inside a jar of alcohol to preserve it, and puts it in his wife's bedroom. So every morning she wakes up, she sees her dead lover's head.
You'd have thought he wouldn't have wanted her to remember, wouldn't you?
Oh.
Best bury the head so she don't remember.
Well, it was a reminder so as not to put it about.
And did it work?
Oh, I don't know!
I love that. Again, that to me is an amazing thing to do. And you go, did it work? I mean, you've got quite an interesting mind, actually. I mean, you are, in some ways, really, really bright and intelligent. I love the way you think. You're one of the cleverest blokes in some ways that I know.
Hello, it says I've got common sense.
Well...
Yeah.
And that's more important than knowing about, you know,
But it's
goldfish and that.
you really, it's like you follow the subplot, which is quite an interesting thing, do you know what I mean? It's like, you tell you a story, you'll always pick up on something that I didn't even think was an important bit. It's like you're always, you're looking out of the window all the time.
So what's important about that head thing?
What do you mean?
The head in a jar.
It's a grotesque thing to do. It shows ego, power, cruelty, and revenge.
Although I think it probably did work, because he is called Peter the Great.
Yeah.
So you'd assume he got it right.
Yeah.
I don't see how you can query that. That's the sort of facts you give us. You see now, you're on the other side of the fence, and you've got questions just like we've always got questions.
No, but in Carl's thing, it would have been, turns out, some weird happened, right, and he was still alive.
Yeah.
And so she was still having sex with body, and his head was watching.
Yeah.
And Peter the Great didn't even know.
See how he's perked up?
I understand what you're saying. Now I've learned some other stuff, so I'll see if I can, you know, educate you a bit before 3.
But I want to know, see what, I'll tell you what education I want. I want to know what sort of things I can buy this weekend.
Butt plugs.
No. Have you got any adverts?
Oh, yeah.
I've got another fact for you, Carl. Might be of interest to you, it's the final one. The ancient Babylonians had few... What?
I'll just stop you there. What's a Babylonian?
My head's gonna burst! What do you mean, what's a Babylonian?
I've never heard of one.
No, but we'll work out, what's an Evertonian?
Someone who supports Everton
Well, or from.
from Liverpool.
Yeah, so what's a Babylonian?
He's from Baba.
Yeah, well anyway, some people from Baba, ancient Baba, they didn't have very many doctors in those days, alright? Because they felt that illnesses should be left to the wisdom of the public, right? So if you were sick, okay, you were placed in the city centre, right? And then a passerby...
Outside Baba.
Outside Baba. And, a passerby who had suffered from the same ailment, or who had seen it treated in the past, they would pass by, they would give them advice on how to be cured. Do you understand? So there'd be no doctors, just people passing by would see, they'd say, what's wrong with you? And they'd say, well, blah, 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 I've had the same thing, here's some advice. And pedestrians were forbidden to pass such an individual without inquiring about the complaint and prescribing for it if they knew how to.
So hang on, so there's someone ill.
Yeah.
It's outside the town hall.
Yeah.
People walk past, go, what's up with you? They
Yeah.
go, oh, my foot hurts, and they go, you've got to do this to get rid of that.
Yeah.
And were they ever right?
Well, what do you mean?
Were they ever right?
Well, how do we know?
What are you telling me?
What?
What have you just told me? What am I meant to take from that? You just said strangers sort of say, you've got that wrong with you.
I think he's sulking. I don't think he's ever going to take anything we tell him again because we don't.
No, but I don't
like the fact
understand
that goes, monkeys can do armed robberies, and we go, no, they can't.
I don't understand what the problem is.
But how is that different from telling me that a Chinese woman ate dirt? How is that not the same sort of
Because that's
thing?
weird. Someone sat in Trafalgar Square going, I've got a headache and I go take some Nurofen, isn't shocking. I'm not a doctor, I've given a bit of advice.
But neither is the dirt lady. She's not particularly interesting. Neither of them are particularly interesting. I'm just trying to give you an example of the same sort of drivel you feed us every week.
Would you sort of have tea round at her house? It's weird. The Chinese woman.
Right, so it's weird. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. It's weirdness that you're interested in.
See, I thought that you were actually interested in sort of learning interesting
Well,
sort of stuff.
but if it's weird, it helps.
Carl,
What?
any New York related pun song titles?
New York.
Not New York, New York, or anything with New York. That's too it. Just something a little bit more lateral.
Do you know anyone who lives over there who's a native New Yorker?
Good one.
Nice.
Well, I said no New York though, so do one without New York in the title.
Do you know anyone who's been born in the USA?
Well, that's not specifically New York, is it? It's a big place, USA, so it's got to be to do with New York, but not mention New York.
Well, see, it's a. They're living in the city.
Well, that's any city. That's any
what you
city.
said.
Yeah, but it's any city. It's got to be.
It's exhausting.
Well, think. Positively 4th Street. We just said loads there.
Yeah, well, you've had first dibs. Hang on a minute. The world.
That noise is actually Carl's brain just turning over. Go on.
What's the one about one big apple?
That's what's one. That the world is.
Yeah.
Right, I know what he's thinking of. The world's just a great big onion.
Joe the taxi.
Well, that could be anywhere.
But a New York taxi.
But no, but that's not the title of the song. If it was New York Taxi, it would be banned anyway, because it's got New York in the title. We had Big Yellow Taxi, that is New York, it doesn't mention New York, it's a Joni Mitchell song, it works.
Is that picture now on a freeze frame?
What are the other streets?
Oh God! Carl! Okay, right. Say something that right. Think of something to do with New York. Then see if that is a title of a song, and then say it out loud with your mouth. So something to do with New York. Is that a title of a song? Does it have New York in the title? If it doesn't, but it is about New York, then say the title of the song. So far, you've come up with titles with New York in the title.
Can you think of any others?
Well, yeah, we will in a
Have you got
minute.
one on your head?
I don't. Yeah, because you said that we had first dibs. You just saw how quick we just came up with them then. So come up with one.
What's the name of the statue? Statue of Liberty.
Statue of Liberty.
Is there any songs with Liberty in?
Well, there's that. Well, yeah. If they're about the Statue of Liberty, I'd let you have that. Crosstown traffic.
That could be any city.
No, but it was about New York. It was about crosstown. It was about crosstown traffic.
What's the one about
Jesus.
where the streets have no name, just numbers? Who sings it?
Is that?
You too.
Two, yeah. There you go.
You could have had Angel of Harlem. That would have been easier.
That would have been easy, yeah. And the streets do have names down
I'm not sure
sort of
that is
downtown.
about that town, is it?
Well, they haven't got names. Where the streets have no name. Where's that? New York.
Is it? Are you sure?
Where else would they be?
Well, there are some streets with names there, aren't there?
Yeah, there
People's
are.
Street.
Yeah, down south on Soho, they've all got names.
Yeah, but it's where the streets have no name. The streets in New York have no name. They're numbers.
And some of them have names.
Where?
Well, we
New
just
York?
named some. Bleecker Street.
Yeah, I'm talking about New York.
That's in New York! That's what Simon and Garfunkel wrote about it.
It's down in Soho, Bleecker Street.
I don't want to play.
What's your pet hate?
Just when there's shit somewhere.
What?
Oh, there's shit somewhere and you can't find it and it stinks.
What?
I hate that.
Isn't that funny? I didn't get that. What do you mean?
Just what have you thought?
Faffing. Too much faffing. Like, is people always like, you can't do that? You have to phone 5 times. You have to put you on hold. People do
Oh, you just mean an annoyance.
What did you think he meant?
He said a pet hate. I thought, right, okay, yeah, I would have said
Sorry,
faffing.
what do you mean?
What do you hate about having a pet? When this shit behind us.
Okay, good night, everyone. Okay.
I don't word it like that.
I've known him for 10 years, and that surprised me.
Hang on, faffing.
That fucking surprised me. I'm really sorry about that.
Right, faffing, yeah, faffing.
A pet hate. When you're asleep and it licks your bollocks. What?
No, alright, I got the wrong end. Yeah, faffing, alright. Yeah.
Fuck me. That's great. Cheers.
But XFM are bringing new listeners all the time. I've heard 4 or 5 a week.
Really?
Yeah. New listeners tune in to XFM 104.9.
Radio 1, beware.
Yeah, yeah. And we might take it for granted the people that know who we are, know who you are, know who Carl is.
Sure.
Now, if you're a regular, then you know exactly who we are. But for those of you who don't, I'm Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais, a BAFTA award-winning actor and writer.
Steve Merchant, all those.
A friend of yours.
Yeah, yeah. And this is the important thing. Karl Pilkington.
Absolutely.
Our producer. I say producer, he was the bloke who was lumbered with a job. When I said, listen, I used to run the desk in the old days when I was like, I used to press the buttons and run the desk and everything. And now I said, listen, I've been on the telly. I do not press my own buttons. And Carl said, well, I don't really work weekends. And they went, well, you do if you want to keep your job.
Absolutely.
And we were lumbered with him. And then we discovered that he's not just a little dork, a little manky sort of idiot.
Sure,
He's got nice shirt. He's got, you know what I mean? He's got something else.
Absolutely.
He's got
He brings another dimension, yeah.
Yeah. And, he started having a little chat and we discovered that he had quite a lot to say.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, and I think, I was wondering maybe we should maybe play another tune, but after that, I just think we should re-familiarise our radio audience with Carl, and any new listeners, just somehow gonna let them get to know the real Carl again.
Well, if you are new, you'll find that we like some old songs, some new songs, some chitter-chat. We get serious sometimes, there's some tears and some laughter.
Yeah.
We kicked off with Oasis' new one, Little by Little. We're gonna go back in time now to Iggy Pop and his Stooges with I'm Bored. Iggy Pop on board on XFM 104.9. I'm Ricky Gervais.
Steve Merchant here as well.
Yeah, little Karl Pilkington. Well, to reintroduce or introduce people for the first time to Carl, I think we should have a...
Yeah, maybe sort of a kind of a quick Q&A, Carl, and we don't need sort of lengthy answers from you, we don't need lots of detail. It can be just a couple of sentences.
Just to get a flavour of who you are.
Yeah, so firstly, name obviously Karl Pilkington. Age, Carl?
I'll be 30 next month.
Really?
This month? No, next. Where are we?
I don't think we need to ask any more questions.
I think we've done it.
That's it.
I think we've
Welcome
done it
to the world of Karl Pilkington.
I think that, I thought it would take 3 or 4
I thought
questions
it was going to be at least,
to really explain
that was the
Karl
first
was
question.
about.
Absolutely
God.
incredible.
Carl, the human body is one of the things that you're actually genuinely fascinated in. This is one of the things that you admit is quite amazing. And I think we all agree with that. Here's some quite incredible stats and facts about the human body. What do you think of this? 50,000 of the cells in your body will die and be replaced with new cells, all while you're listening to this sentence.
Go on.
Well, that's it.
What's the sentence?
That was the sentence.
What was the sentence again?
Well, it doesn't matter. The sentence doesn't matter. 50,000 just dying and being replaced in that time.
But what are they doing?
Different cells do different things. Some are taste buds. Some carry hemoglobin and oxygen to other cells.
Yeah.
Some are skin. Some are liver.
I've heard about skin. I've heard about skin, sort of.
What? What you heard? A rumour about skin. You heard about skin? What?
It's just it
keeps
just,
all your stuff from falling on the fucking floor.
Well, it's the thing that makes you what you are as well, doesn't it?
What do you mean?
More than anything.
Why?
Well, without the skin, you're just a skeleton. You look all the same.
No, you're not just a skeleton. No.
Other than your lungs and your heart and your kidneys and stuff. What I'm saying is,
I know,
went to
and
that,
all the flesh on top and all the blood vessels. And
I
all the...
went to that bodies exhibition.
Yeah.
This is it. He knows all about the human body and science because he went to the bodies exhibition.
Do you know where the German fella cuts bodies up?
Yes.
Now, he had a load of people on show. could have all been the same family. Because everyone, without the skin on their head, looks the same. Other than height,
Yeah.
everybody looks exactly the same.
And that's why racism is so stupid.
Well, it's a good point. Good point, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's saying that, though, I did think most of them were Chinese.
Well, there is obviously so much to discuss, Ricky. I wonder, in an effort just to provoke some initial thoughts, if I can offer another quote from the great Carl Sagan, who said, advances in medicine and agriculture have saved vastly more lives than have been lost in all the wars in history. So quite a...
Yeah, just shows you shouldn't really worry about war.
What do you mean? As
Not a big problem, is it? Obviously. So, that's a good point there, Carl.
Not sure your point.
War's not as bad
Yeah, not
as
sure.
a lot of people make out. What do you think, Carl? Overrated? Too much fuss about all...
Well, I don't know anyone who's died in a war, but I know loads of people who have died from, cancer and what have you. So is that going on Carl's quote? Does that work? Is he right? What did he say?
Good, well, we're off to a fascinating start.